Ilia Topuria is arguably the best pound-for-pound MMA fighter on the planet. Undefeated as a professional, El Matador has won his last 3 fights by brutal knockout, obliterating some of the best legends in UFC history, including Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Charles Olivera. When you think of Ilia, you think of his bombs. However, Ilia's highlight reel knockouts are made possible through an intricate understanding of the basics, combined with sophistication and elegance. So today we're going to be breaking down Ilia Topuria's style, working our way up from the basics to his more advanced techniques, and how he seamlessly combines it all together in order to decimate the opposition. The foundation of Ilia's style is his stance. Ilia fights out of a low stance with his feet very wide apart, and this has a number of benefits. Firstly, it allows him to easily move laterally, side to side, and keep his opponents under pressure. Another benefit is the takedown defense. Watch how Ilia is easily able to sprawl Bryce's takedown because of his wide base. And because hard shots require a wide stance, Ilia is always in position to fire power punches at a moment's notice. Another key factor is head movement. Topuria's low base allows him to easily move his head, but we'll talk more about this in a minute. Topuria's footwork from this stance is quite unusual, and it's for good reason. On many occasions, Topuria has listed the Mexican boxing star Canelo Alvarez as a huge inspiration.
We liked a lot Canelo. Yeah, I learned so much from him.
When watching Topuria fight, the similarities between him and Canelo are quite noticeable, because just like Canelo, Topuria breaks conventional wisdom and often steps with his back foot first as he's walking forward. This allows him to keep his movement very dynamic as he's pressuring and cutting off the octagon. Another key component of Topuria's style is his feints. He's constantly feinting while on the outside, making his opponents guess whether or not he's really attacking or just bluffing. Notice how in this sequence, Topuria mixes level change feints with lead hand feints, utterly bewildering Holloway and making him constantly react. Topuria's head movement blends beautifully into his feints, but we'll break that down in a minute. Another key component of Topuria's style at long range is his rangefinders, mainly the jab. Topuria constantly uses jabs to back his opponents up. He even likes feinting into it, using a stutter feint before doing a real jab, catching his opponents off guard. Here he doubles up on it, feinting 2 jabs into another jab to set up a right hand which barely misses. He even takes it a step further, mixing in body jabs. Here he feints a jab to the head before going down low, catching Holloway off guard. Now let's talk about Topuria's second rangefinder, and that rangefinder is the calf kick. Ilia constantly uses calf kicks as he's walking down his opponents, slowly chipping away at their legs and crippling their movement. Unlike his jabbing game, he doesn't really use many feints with these, mostly opting to just toss them in as he's moving forward. Now let's talk about Topuria's head movement. Topuria constantly uses head movement to both stay safe and set up his own offense. But how exactly does he get away with it in a sport which allows kicking? The key lies in versatility. Topuria mixes head movements with shuffling back, and this keeps him very unpredictable. As he's shuffling back, he's moving with the momentum of the punches, significantly reducing the amount of damage he actually absorbs. Here, Topuria slips a jab, and then shuffles back against Holloway's cross, mixing the two together. And because Topuria's low stance allows him to instantly counter, he can mix this with shuffling back to punish opponents. In this clip, Ilia shuffles back to defend Holloway's cross, but Holloway stepped through with the cross to throw another one from southpaw. However, Ilia, already stable, cross parries it before nailing Holloway with the right hand as he was off balance. Topuria also expertly mixes head movement and kick defense. Here, he tries to duck Holloway's jab, but it was just a setup for a lead leg high kick. Ilia notices this and shuffles back mid-duck, making the kick miss him entirely. In Topuria's fight versus Josh Emmett, he showcased another layer to his defense by utilizing shoulder rolls to neutralize Emmett's right hand. Emmett has a very powerful right hand, and he uses it very often. So whenever Emmett used multiple punches to set up the right hand, Ilia would shuffle back and tuck his chin beneath his shoulder, making Emmett swing wildly and sending him off balance. Topuria was even able to time some beautiful counters off of his shoulder rolls. Ilia's ability to utilize all of these different defensive methods on their own and to seamlessly combine them is what allows him to safely use head movement in MMA. Topuria is also a master of using overhand rights to counter his opponent's jabs. The jab is one of the most fundamental ways to keep someone off of you, so many of Topuria's opponents try to use it. However, he not only evades it, but punishes them for it, slipping their jab and throwing an overhand right at their exposed chin. Topuria's constant feints, combined with his rangefinders and counters, inevitably mean the opponent reaches the cage, and this is where his vicious combination work comes in. He mixes levels, moving body to head to find openings to decimate his competitors. He also makes sure to fully rotate on each shot for maximum power. Now that we've covered all of Topuria's key techniques, let's see how he mixes everything together to destroy his opponents. Let's begin by breaking down the finish of Volkanovski. Ilia eats a jab, but stays composed and manages to time the next one with an overhand right, backing up Volkanovski. Both fighters then reset, and Ilia slips the next jab to the outside before firing back with a counter combination. From here, Ilia frames off of Volkanovski's head and then fully rotates into a right hand, crumpling the champion. Now let's take a look at the knockout of Max Holloway. Ilia started with multiple feints at long range, and then feinted with his lead hand before doing a level change feint, simultaneously ducking Holloway's jab. Both fighters then exchange and reset, and after a few seconds, Ilia repeats the exact same sequence, feinting with his lead hand before dropping down. But this time, the drop down concealed his real intention, using his hand to pull down Holloway's hand to set up a vicious straight right, badly hurting Holloway. And with Max on the fence and badly hurt, Topuria's hand combinations destroyed him. You stuck around until the end, so I assume you enjoyed the video. If so, please consider liking, subscribing, or sharing your opinions down in the comments section. And as always, thank you for watching.